Okay, so this tutorial is how to import your model, rig it up for WWE 2K. In this with CakeTools, in this example, I'll be importing my Raquel Gonzalez model I made. I have this body I believe I took from Nina, this custom head, this hair from I believe I took it from 19. Rest of the hairs I took from 19 as well. So how do I get all this into 2K20? Well, this tutorial assumes your model is already finished. I'm not going to cover how to make a mod because that's a this is for people who want to get their mod into. So as you can see, I've got all the models here. I even imported the necessary other objects like eye, the liner, eye, teeth. That's the tongue, flash, and then I sculpted them to. And as well, I already have all my textures. So this is how I get her into the game. So I already decided that I'll be replacing her. I'll be using Charlotte 15 slot to replace L. So that I remember the number. 841. So you'll notice she has two attires. I'm going to place an NXT takeover attire, rival attire. She has. So I'm going to open up the attire model and extract that. As well as its body. Just taking a sec. Holy crap. Well, it's still in alpha. Here we go, and extract that. And then within her base model, you'll notice she has two different texture folders for each attire in the rival one. So make sure if you're replacing someone with a folder like this, you name it exactly as it was. I look at my see it's actually named that. So now we can rig up our model. So what you want to do is run the rig script, MDL rig view. Oh, and I should mention that this tutorial, if you're importing a body right now, you will not have face animations, that you will need to do the OBJ head import, which I will cover in another video sometime. So this tutorial, she will not have face animations. So what's next is gonna import the MDL. Actually, we just need to import body. It's gonna take a second because it has to skin all the skeleton. I'm gonna pause it. So now that I've got my model in the game, I mean in 3ds Max, it's time to do a couple of steps to rig it up. So you're gonna want to export two NIFs, NIF files. You need the NIF tools to do that. So just Google NIF tools 3ds Max and you'll find it for your version number. Which is what I use. If you use 20, just type 20. I don't think there is one for 2019. Anyway, once you got that installed, we can continue. So I'm going to select all the objects that belong to her body, and it's helpful to sort by ascending age. So everything that comes after the root bone here was imported with. So I'm going to select body, her head, and then all stuff like eye, stuff like that. I'm going to go for selected. Then NIF, I'm gonna call it body, and then I need you to pause the video here and copy, make sure your NIF settings are the exact same as mine. So none of this checked except hidden, flatten, normals, all this row, and nothing else checked except sort nodes, and then make sure these are the same. I'm trying to make this tutorial as easy as possible. So I would advise going back, watching it through a couple times. And if you're still not getting it, then maybe modding isn't for you. I don't know. This is the best I'm trying to explain. So yeah, select the body parts, export as NIF, copy my settings. And now we do the same with the ear part. That's just clothing and my hair. Doesn't matter what you name it. Rename CD. And then next what we do is I like to at least take all these, add a prefix to them that says original. I know they're my wishes. I'm not going. So hide everything in your scene, and then go to import, and then import the NIFs body. When it says rename all, just hit it. So our next step is to rig these NIF objects to the skeleton and rename them. So I'm going to start with body. Unhide the hide. Just select body. Hit unselect. Because this is all we need to rig to, just her head and her body. Objects reappear. Okay, so step one, I'm gonna body, skin wrap. In the modifier list down here, skin wrap. And then what settings I like to use are 0.5 fall off, distance influence. I take blend to base and weight all points. These seem to get me the best. So and then you just click add and select the right click to stop adding, and you'll see body skin is in that list. Convert to skin, and now we rename it to the original of what it was, which is skin, because that's what it needs to be in the object. Also, this is the wrong. No, it's not. And then next I'm going to skin wrap. Settings should remain the same if you didn't close max. And convert to skin. Head, colon, skin. For the eyes, teeth, and everything else, it's a little bit trickier. So what I'm going to do for the eyes, skin wrap, and then select the original eye from the and when you import, you see it says eye skin. It's going to keep the same. You could also, if you don't want individual eye movement, you could also just skin wrap it too. So that's what I'm going to do with the eyelash. Because I don't need the original, just need to get to my head, start to skin, lash, pulling skinned, and then I'm going to do the same with the tongue. Tongue keeps the name body skin because it uses that texture. The teeth, since we're not having face animations on this model, I will skin wrap it to the head. If you do want animations with your teeth and you have face animations, you're going to do the same OBJ import that I will cover later. But for now, we're just going to body skinned as it uses that texture as well. Make sure to always press convert to skin or your mod will not work. Eye caruncle, bring that to the head as well. And that keeps its name, as you can see, Scene Explorer. Full skinned. I believe all my body parts are skinned. So I'm just going to double check that all the skin wrap modifiers have been converted to skin. Should save that. And next I'm going to do the gear. So now that I have my body skinned up, I can blend my gear into my body rig. So I'm going to do first is bra, brassiere, skinned. That's the texture it uses. And select my body. And since it sort of overlaps with the head and neck there, I'm going to select the head as well. Convert to skin, done. Tights. So my texture is called tights, so the name will be tight skinned. Skin wrap. This will be my wristbands. I imported one wristband and then I flipped it over to the other side using the mirror modifier and collapsed it into one object. So it's only using one texture, and that is L wrist. So I will name that L wrist skinned and skin wrap. Oops. Add body. And shoe. The shoe skinned. What's your name? And with shoes, they are usually over the tights. If your character has tight pants, so you'll want to first skin wrap to the body and then the. You look up here, you have both in your modify. That way, it will take into account the rigging of the tights as well and will flip over them. And then her hair. For hair, this hair will have no animations as well because I won't bother. It's just a ponytail. So I'm just gonna rig it to her head. And hair needs to be named hair_alpha skin. The head. Convert to. Now we have our fully rigged model and we're just going to test out the rigging. Skeleton, expand all, and just grab some bones and play with it. Make sure everything's moving. So one thing I noticed here is this clipping in my model, and that's not caused by the rigging exactly. It's caused because I didn't sculpt it well enough. So what I'm going to do is just finish testing rigging here. and seems okay enough. Also, the hair is a little up there. So to fix messed up rigging, what I like to do is go into the animation timeline at the bottom here, and you'll see you have some options. So I'm going to do setting idle, set this as frame 0 so it doesn't mess up. Select root bone, select child node, and just hit set key, and that will create a key on the timeline here. That will keep it in the default stance. Go back to 0. Then I'm going to go up to like 50, hit auto key, and now everything we do will be set at frame 50. So now what I like to do is I'm going to fix the hair and the pin. I'm going to stretch out the legs 60 degrees each. And we're going to turn the head 90 degrees. So I can see that error there very clear. And then turn off auto key and drag back. It's animated and you do not lose our default position. So if you don't have any rigging errors, you can fast forward a bit and skip this step. I'm going to have to fix this sculpt here. But if I go to attempt that by clicking editable mesh, the model resets until I go back to the skin modifier. I don't want that. So what I will do is add an edit mesh modifier and start fixing that sculpt. So I'm going to soft select the pelvis here, pull down, third, I'll go extra, and then this. And once that's done, I drag edit mesh under skin, collapse 2, and almost pretty much all fixed. And now for the hair, I'm going to select it, go into skin, select envelope. So envelope mode is now on and you can edit the skin. I'm going to select vertices, and I'm just going to select the Control A to select the entire hair. Head bone here, and open the weight tool here and set all the vertices one on the head so they just move the head. Seems to have fixed it. Back. May do its test as well. That will. Auto key. Fingers seem good. Alright. So now we can export this to the game. So again, make sure all your models have been collapsed to skin, converted to skin. And let's start exporting. So I'm gonna open up my blank baked CAC 7 to have a store it. And then I'm going to start to prepare to import my model. So the first thing you want to do is select all the body parts again. Unhide the skeleton, easiness, and then select all the body parts. Go to script. Then you want to do WWE 2K20 MDL export V101. And we're going to replace Charlotte's base model. I'm already navigated there because I imported it. Select it. It'll ask if you want to replace it. Select yes. Then a second window pops up. And this window is you have to select the MDL file you used to rig it to, so the one you imported, and that's just Charlotte's base model for us again, so I can double click that. Incompatible. 1 second. Alright, so I figured out why I got that error message. It was pretty stupid. So when you export a model, you want to make a copy of it to use as that base you select, because when you select do you want to replace, it already creates a new file, so you cannot select the same file you just selected. So I re-extracted Charlotte's model and I made a copy of it. So what we do now is we try again. We go to select all the body parts, script, MDL export. In a second. And after it pops up, you'll want to select the model because that's the one we're writing. And for the base, we select the copy and it should work all well. See, exported successfully. And now we'll do the gear. So select the gear parts. Go to export and go to gear folder. Select entire MDL you exported from CakeTools. And we will select the base model copy because we rigged it to that one, not the gear MDL. So, successfully done. Now I'm going to open my baked CakeTools 7 again. Add folder to root, characters, and then we're almost ready to import. The next thing we have to do is generate an MTLs file. CakeTools comes with one, so MTLs edit.exe. It's pretty simple too. You just drag your MDL into it and it will automatically generate one. And then you just adjust accordingly. I want eyelash to be YCS trans, and then the rest look good. One thing you'll notice here, eye is incorrect. So we will re-export our model and name it eye skinned. Eye skinned. Body parts again. Just run through. This model, copy. So when you're making your MTL, look out for any incorrect texture names like IR color. And just MD again, and let's fix that. Eyes, eyelash to be trans, and skin, YCS. And just save MTLs file. Save it base model. And then we're going to do the same. Drag that MDL in, double check all your stuff. Hair color, that's correct. All these textures are on YCS gear as I want them to be. And we're just gonna save it. 841. I believe that is correct. If you're ever unsure, double check. So I'm going to actually do that right now, as some people may have their folders a little bit different than most. A41 MTLs and base. That should work. So again, 7, and I'm just going to import everything. Should be. So recreate the folders for Charlotte. NXT rival and then textures in here. Import the HPL file is your masking file. If you need to get rid of the invisible body parts, you just simply open it in X, delete everything, and just add some zeros, a line or two, and that should work. But I believe my Charlotte mod does not. I'm going MDL and the MTLs, and then I'm going to do the same for base mod. And then here I'm going to create texture. And then I'm not going to import my textures yet. I'm going to test out the model and see if it's working first. That should be, you want to test in parts in case it crashes and you don't know what is causing it. Sometimes it's textures, sometimes model. It's always best to do consistent testing. So I'm just going to go creating entrance for that Charlotte. I've already changed her entrance, by the way, because I imported this model before. And as you can see, our model is fully working, but she has Charlotte's textures. We just have to import our own to fix that. But as you can see, fully rigged, fully moving, and the MTL seems to be working exactly as it should be, as it didn't cause any crashes. So now I'm just going to go textures. As I said, I've already had them pre-made and pre-set up. This tutorial is just for getting your model into the game. It takes a couple seconds. Also, my advice would be not to have too high resolution textures, or the game will lag. I think these are actually too big. Check on. So you want to keep them around 1 megabyte in your DDS if you can. 1 or 2 megabytes, or I have experienced bad lag. HQ textures, sadly. And the lower resolution they are, the quicker they are to. So now we're just going to launch the game again. Go back to creating entrance. Oh yeah, this video is probably going to get copyright strike. Shit. Oh well. Then previewing her entrance again. All her textures are intact, and we have our full Raquel Gonzalez model in the game. So I'm just going to go over the process one more time. So what we do is we have our original body parts here. We have our original parts that we started with, no rig on them. Your Raquel Gonzalez model. And then we export them as NIF. And then we import our models that we will be rigging to, which is our Charlotte. And then we skin wrap, and then we re-import our NIFs, which are these. And then we use skin wrap. Rig that to the Charlotte we imported, It can be any model, by the way, or any model you want to pick to, as long as you choose it as the base MDL when you export. And after that, we select our body parts and then our gear parts and export them as separate MDLs. And then we drag it into MTL editor, assign our shaders. Again, it's just a drop down. You have access to every shader here. Caustics, glass, IOV, hologram, water, movie, hair, blah blah blah. And then you just click. And you can also add material. Save. And then we just re-import them to the normal folders. Again, it's really easy once you get the process down. It's just export NIF, import NIF, rig NIFs, export as MDL when you get down to it. I tried to explain as best I can, so hopefully you guys can start making 2K20 mod. I'll be making another video where I cover importing OBJs to get the face animations, and I'll be probably making a video on the MDL merger that allows you to use hair physics and other items that you might need supplemental help with, like animations with beards. So if you enjoyed this tutorial and you understand how to mod 20 now, please sub to my Patreon if you can. If not, leave a like, sub, stuff like that. I don't know what people say.